I've been able to make $15,000 in the last 12 hours online selling AI to local businesses. Now, this is one of my dashboards. You can see 6,100 today, 6,100 yesterday. This is the other dashboard as well with 2,700. And then as you can see, 50K in here and 630 here. I'll hit the refresh just so you know that it's legit. My Wi-Fi has been kind of shit, so hopefully this goes fast. Let's see. There you go. Okay. 620,000, 6K today, 6K yesterday. Now, I'm going to be breaking down the exact process. Literally, if you have not started or if you're already doing 10K a month, to be able to scale to 50K a month, I'm going to be breaking down everything from laying the foundation, selecting your offer, selecting your niche, selecting the pricing framework, to crafting your offer and the assets, to the lead generation machine and our entire ads campaign setup and structure. Then I'm going to be breaking down the closing and the fulfillment side of things, as well as how to scale and build a machine further to 100, 250K a month and prep it for that. Now, I'm going to be breaking down our entire onboarding process as well. So once the payment comes through, what happens and the entire onboarding form that we cover, as well as all the automations and nurturing sequences. So bear with me, give me 20 minutes, and I will break down and show you how you can start and scale selling AI today as a beginner, or to prepare it long-term if you're already doing 10, 30K a month, to prep it to scale to 100, 150K a month plus. So let's get this started, okay? Phase one is the most important. Now, if you have already, kind of picked your offer and your niche and you're already doing 10K a month, I would still recommend watching this, because picking the wrong machine could lead you in the wrong direction and you could lose a lot of money by going after the wrong niche, the wrong offer, the wrong pricing framework. Sorry, I just changed the light in the back. It was too distracting. So we have the three sections. The three things that we need to keep in mind for laying the foundation and getting everything started is, okay, what is going to be your core offer? What are we going to build and have as your selling point? So the meat and potatoes. What are we going to have as a niche? Okay, a lot of people, what they do and they get wrong going into business is going after everybody. And the problem with that is, if you are not able to master a fulfillment process for a certain niche, then it's going to be 10 times harder to do that for a broad targeted audience. You need to focus on a certain type of people and solve a big problem for a small amount of people. And then we could talk about expanding eventually, okay? And then your pricing framework. Okay, what are we going to charge? Are we going to charge up front? Are we going to charge a monthly retainer, a setup fee, commission-based, split, whatever, okay? Now for the core offer, there's a bunch of different things I've listed here, and I'm not saying this is all that you can choose, but this is what I'm going to display, and then we'll walk through kind of what we're doing right now. So the core offer: appointments, AI lead qualifier, AI client onboarding assistant, AI support agent, AI reactivation campaign. So I'll give you an example of one angle I would take if I was going after with a AI lead qualifier, AI customer support agent. Hey, HVAC technicians, are you tired of losing jobs to your competitors who have less trucks, even though you do a better job? You have more trucks sitting and you're losing money. Well, you can make an extra $50,000 every single month by not missing any calls with our AI customer support agent. So that would be the main offer, the meat and potatoes that you're using to bring people in. Another way that I could structure it with a core offer is the appointments. Hey, HVAC techs, are you tired of low lead flow? We guarantee 20 appointments or 20 estimates every single month into your business with whatever. It doesn't even matter. It's the appointment that we're focusing on. It could be using the AI customer support agent, but now I'm talking about the meat and potatoes, the core offer of what you are structuring everything as, and then everything you build around is just whatever your fulfillment process is going to be. I'm going to walk through as well what we're doing right now and what you can do for your offer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take appointments. It is the most simple. It is the most commonly used. If you want to stand out in terms of a unique mechanism, you could try using these. So you could say what I said: hey, HVAC technicians, we guarantee 20 appointments every single month into your business by using AI lead qualifier. For example, you could do that. But your meat and potatoes and your core offer is going to be what you're selecting here. Now, from there, you're going to pick your niche and ideal avatar. Now, usually, I would say before you're picking your core offer, you pick your niche, because by doing enough market research, once you've selected your niche, a real estate agent is not going to have the same problems as a home service, right? So I would select your niche first. I would dive into, okay, what is the biggest problem these people are solving that other people aren't doing properly right now, and how can I do that? So for example, in home services, there's so many marketing companies out there, but they just aren't fulfilling, and lead quality isn't good. So if you can find a good fulfillment system for them, it's literally just running paid ads for them and using AI to book in the appointments. That's the only problem is, right, these guys, because they're not tech savvy, they don't really understand everything. So onboarding process can be very, very difficult. Fulfillment can be tough because they're just not used. Like, some of them don't even own laptops. They're literally attached to their phone. That could also affect your acquisition process with them. So just make sure that once you are, before you pick your core offer, you're picking your niche. I personally would suggest when you're going after your niche, you go after the least tech savvy people and the lowest barrier to entry of people. So for example, a high barrier of entry niche would be like a medical space, okay? Unless you have some multiple personal connections with doctors, there's less of those types of people, which means you're gonna have less lead flow. They're also, went to med school, higher educated people. They might be, a little bit more trustworthy, especially because, not trustworthy, they will need more trust. And if you have no proof of concept, they are smart people. They're gonna ask the right questions. So that's what a high barrier to entry niche would be. Whereas in comparison, like real estate, there's so many real estate agents. And if you succeed for a smaller one, they're literally relying on you for revenue. So that would be an example of your niche. Now, the company size, what I suggest is no matter what, if you can choose, never go for bottom of the barrel. You might not have a choice in the beginning. So for example, our offer right now is we offer, 50 appointments every single month or 50 estimates every single month. Now, majority of the people who are clicking on our ad are saying, oh my gosh, 50 estimates per month. That's, insane. Our goal is to scare off any contractor or any home service. We're in a sub niche of home service to literally see that ad and be like, that's a scam. There's no way they're bringing 50 estimates per month, and click off the ad. Our goal is for them to not be able to believe that amount of volume. And what happens is you won't get people who can take 50 estimates per month, but you get people who can take like 20 to 30. Okay. Rarely will have people come through who are on our top ticket, which is 50. You'll have people come through that need like 20 to 30 per month, and then we'll just downsell them. So company size, I always say just shoot high with your offer and then try and aim for a mid-level company to start. Then you build up the fulfillment, you understand the processes, you build up the testimonials, and then you can target the higher, larger companies. So you're just breaking down how many leads per day are they doing, what the revenue is, the profit. Okay, typically what I like to say is when I say mid-level companies, like 1 to 10 million a year. So under 1 million a year, you're a small company. And over 10 million, you're kind of getting into the bigger leagues, right? You're still a mid-sized company, but I meant for this specifically, like this industry niche, and what we're targeting is that would be considered a larger company once they're doing over 10 million a year. Niche to pain point. So this is what I meant by market research, where then it could depend on your core offer. What is their main problem? Is it speed to lead? Is it missed calls? Is it a slow sales process? Is it a bad lead follow-up system? Is it consistent leads? Is it, creative processes? Is it organic? Like there's so many things, right? So based on figuring out the niche pain points and targeting the right company size, once you've picked your industry, you select the core offer. Basically kind of how it goes. So working backwards from kind of what I was talking about. And then pricing framework. Now, what I'm going to say to start is no matter what you want to do is you want to have, obviously the sweet spot is a large upfront payment plus a small monthly retainer. Most of the time, especially with your first couple clients, you're not going to see this, okay? Your goal with the first couple clients is to get as much upfront as you can as fast as possible. Even if you sign a contract where it says, oh, they're going to pay us $2,000 a month for 5 months. If they really don't want to pay you the second month, they're not going to pay you. You don't have the money for a lawyer to afford a lawyer to get them in court. You want to make sure in the beginning you're getting as much money up front as possible. And then, okay, if they see good success, you can throw in that monthly retainer. But to start, your pricing should always be, okay, how am I going to collect as much cash as possible? And then you can worry about that retainer. Because for example, if we were to charge like a $5,000, $6,000 upfront for a 3-month contract with a client, that's good, right? $6,000 upfront. But if we had them on a monthly retainer of $3K per month and we knew that they were going to stay on for 5 months, that's $15K instead of the normal 5 or 6. So it just depends, right? It just depends. And that was a bad example. Let's say you have a client on a 2K retainer, okay, versus charging 10K upfront. In order to have the same equal amount of money from or LTV from that client, so the lifetime value, you need to have them on for 5 months. And just figuring out your fulfillment, it's going to be very difficult to have your first couple of clients stay on for 5 months. I promise you, it's going to be very, very difficult. So just get as much money as you can upfront, charge high upfront retainers. It's also, kind of nice. Companies don't really like to pay monthly one time. They just, get rid of it, they pay once and then they're good. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. As much money upfront as possible and then monthly retainer. Okay, now that's the first section. Okay, so now you understand how to set up your pricing framework, the use case, the pricing, the sweet spot, your ideal niche, the industry, company size, niche pain points, selecting core offer. What about crafting the offer, okay, and the assets? Now this one I can go pretty in depth, but because it's very specific from case to case, I'm just going to use our example, okay? So in order to create an irresistible offer, you need to sell the outcome, especially if we're talking about home services. These guys don't care if you are using the next level technology, ChatGPT 5.0 integration system. They don't care, okay? I promise you right now, what you need to focus on is, hey, this is what you're going to do. You're going to give us $1 and we're going to have $5 come out. $1 in, $5 out. This is how we're going to do it. This is what the process is going to look like. You're going to break down everything. So I'll give you an example. let's say we're working with a home service industry like solar. Those guys have 10 to 15K ticket price. Let's say you charge $2,000 a month and they need to spend $3,000 in ads, $5,000, okay? $5,000 a month. So for them to get their return on investment with you, you need to get them to sign one client in 3 months. One client in 3 months for them to see a value. And then you break it down. We see typically our cost per lead is $20. Our cost industry average close is 20%. So every 5 leads, you're closing a deal at 15,000, and then whatever, you break it down. Those are just made up numbers, of course. So that's what you're going to do. You're literally going to sell the outcome. What you could do is you could literally use an ROI tracker. So you can literally just break down, this is exactly what you're going to do. This is exactly how much we're going to make. This is what we're going to do. Our AI system calls them within this, this, and this. So by average, it increases the pickup rate. Okay. And that is what you're going to do. Now, what you're going to do as well is a value. You need to have a value stack, okay? You need to get them to see as much upfront value as they can, because what happens is, especially when you're figuring out fulfillment in the beginning and for the ad side of things, typically results are not instantaneous. It takes time. It takes time to set up the campaigns. It takes time for the campaigns to optimize to the ads. There's a bunch of different things that take time. So you want to add in bonuses to have a value stack to where they can see, oh my gosh, I've already made my return on investment and they haven't even started. So including rapid and seamless setup system, professional onboarding system, AI personalization, support, right? There's a million things that you could add for the bonuses that obviously I can't break down everything in the world, but this gives you a good idea. And then including risk reversal. If you don't have this in the beginning, it's going to be very, very difficult to close, even if you are in sales. And if you just have no proof of concept, you have to have risk reversal. So have some sort of conditional guarantee where in the contract, they need to do this, this, and that. And if they don't, we'll work for free until it works, or we'll give them a refund. And then, like I said, they cover ads costs, so you're just refunding your retainer. That's usually what I would recommend doing in the beginning, because, it's not fair. If you are not fulfilling for your clients, you shouldn't be taking their money. That's, morally, I would not be able to do that. If I tell a client, I'm going to do this for you, you just need to listen to what I say. They listen to what I say and I don't do well for them, then I don't deserve their money. So that's up to you. Like morally, I would say do it, just because I will never take somebody's money if I don't believe that I did everything in my power to help them and they didn't get a return on investment. Like I said, have conditions. So if they go against your conditions, then yeah, you don't have to give them a refund, even if they don't fulfill. But yeah. Okay, now building the core infrastructure. So funnels, right? Your CRM system, booking automations, nurturing sequences, ad setup. All of this is going to be in Go High Level. It's that simple, okay? Go High Level is a CRM where you can build funnels in there, create opt-in pages via sales, qualification pages, booking pages, thank you pages, have pipelines, tags, tracking, booking automations where you're emailing and sending testimonials, content, email and text reminders. All of this is in one CRM. It's called Go High Level, okay? Right here. My Wi-Fi's been very slow. There you go. This is a Go High Level. I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can sign up for Go High Level under my affiliate link. You get 2 weeks free, and you also get a snapshot with a bunch of stuff that I use in my business for all of these things. So I'm going to put that in the link in the description below. So yeah. And then ad setup, we're going to be doing all of this on Ads Manager, okay? Now, the ad setup is going to be something that is going to be very, very difficult in the beginning, as well as Go High Level. It's just a learning curve. You have to learn it. And the best way to do it, in my opinion, is YouTube. It's free. You search up Go High Level for beginners free guide, or Go High Level a guide for beginners, and it's literally hour-long videos, hours and hours of just how Go High Level works, how to set it up, and then you understand your CRM process in a few short hours for your entire business, which is very important. I know a lot of people, a few hours, that's so long. It's not. Okay, it's not a lot at all for what you're doing and the value that it has on your business. It's very short, actually. And then for ad setup, what we're going to do is we're going to use AI demo and AI UGC ads. So because of today's technology, you no longer have to pay and hire for a studio and all this high-tech expensive camera equipment. You can literally use AI ads to start, and then the goal is to fulfill for your clients and then eventually have them record their own ads. So you create onboarding SOPs and you just tell your clients, hey, I want you to do this, this, and this, and say this. Those are the best performing. No matter what, it's going to outperform any AI. It's just more human, more of a human touch. It's the actual business owner talking to their customers. It's going to outperform every single time. So, and then we're going to use ChatGPT to do everything else, essentially. Primary text headlines, which is just essentially the, and I'll break it down a little bit more here, but it's just going to have the caption and description once you click on the ad for your clients that you're running. And then pixel setup is all in YouTube videos. You search up how to set up a pixel on Ads Manager, create a dynamic custom audience, and then create and launch ad campaign. So all of this is going to be in Meta Ads Manager, by the way. So Meta Ads Manager. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to be diving very deep into everything. I'm literally just going over the overview. So if you're interested in diving deep into meta ads, check out some of my other YouTube videos. And then prepare lead mags. So This is important. Every single client that's coming through, you want to give value. You need to gain their trust. So you're going to give out, free VSL scripts, free calling scripts, free offer audit, where you're literally telling them, hey, I'll come in, I'll offer it for completely for free to get them on the phone, an audit of your business, and then you pitch them. So you give them value, and then you get them on, you tell them everything they need to do, and then you sell implementation. That's the goal. So now we understand phase 1, laying the foundation, phase 2, crafting the offer and assets. Now phase 3 is the lead generation machine. So this is how we're going to actually sign clients for your offer, for what you're offering your clients. Okay, now paid ads engine. Okay, so demo UGC creatives, which I talked about, which is what you're using for your client as well. You're going to use for your company. Same thing, ChatGPT, primary text, ChatGPT headlines, targeting based on niche, retargeting setup, and then optimizing always for a cost per qualified book call. All the time you're going to see on Ads Manager, cost per lead, cost per booking, cost per whatever. It doesn't mean shit. All you want to do is optimize for the cost per qualified booked appointment. So that means a cost per qualified book call. I'll give you 2 examples. One cost per book call is a business owner who's booked 20 calls with other businesses. He might have the budget, but you don't know exactly. He's doing like $200K a year, which is essentially nothing for his business. And he's really just a window shopper. That would be a booking. They are the niche. They do potentially have the funds. That's a booking. Versus another booking, which is a business owner doing $3 million a year. They have checked out a few competitors, 1 or 2, just to see who has the better offer. And obviously they're smart. They're doing their research. And they are interested in getting started. Okay, that would be the 2 differences. The second is obviously a qualified booked appointment, whereas the first is not. Okay, now this is exactly how we set up our ad campaign inside of Ads Manager. So let's say that we are targeting home services. Now we're going to do a sub-niche targeting within each ad set. So first one's going to be general construction. Second's going to be home renovation. Third's going to be roofers. Then we're going to have 5 ad creatives within each ad set, 5 ad creatives, a primary text, 3 primary text, 3 headlines, and then one CTA or call to action, which is going to be learn more. That is the only CTA you need. Everything else is not going to be as good as learn more. People are just used to that. So for example, another one could be book now. Learn more is the best. Okay, now what you're going to do within this is you're going to set it under campaign budget. So it's going to spend, and it's going to be testing out 5 different creatives for each ad set, 3 different primary texts, 3 headlines, all at the same time with the same budget. If you were to test 1 ad creative, 1 primary text, 1 headline, and it's just going to spend a little per little, and then eventually whichever one is outperforming will get more of the spend, and whichever is underperforming will get less of the spend. Pretty cool system, right? That Meta has set up. So that's how you're going to run it. Then you're going to take the winner, and you're literally just going to take that 1 creative, that primary text, that headline, and the same CTA. So for example, maybe roofers 1. The second ad creative was the highest performing. The third primary text was the highest performing, and the second headline. Then what you're going to do from there is once you have the winner, you're just going to make 4 more ads that are just like this, 2 more primary texts that are just like this, 2 more headlines, and you're going to test, and you're going to keep running, optimizing, and obviously keep this going, and then test those new ones. That's exactly how we run our campaigns, literally exactly like that. Obviously, this is not a very in-depth explanation. I have lots of videos where I walk through the Ads Manager way more in depth, so you can check those out. Now, the full lead journey. So they click the ad. That's after they've gone through all of this, right? Once they click on learn more. Then they go to the VSL and opt-in. Now, there's 2 ways that you could set this up. You can either put this over here. So after they book the calendar slot, that way you have less friction. Typically, if you have the VSL and the opt-in before the qualifying form, you're having a lot more friction. I would say to start, you can even remove this. You delete this from your process. They click the ad, they go straight to the qualifying form, and then they go through, if they're disqualified, they go to the disqualified page. If they're qualified, they go to book a calendar slot. They get a confirmation email, immediate triage call, confirmation SMS. And then in this confirmation SMS, it'll have the VSL. It'll tell them, hey, can you make sure to watch the VSL? And then our triage caller is going to say, hey, can you make sure to watch that VSL? That way we have less friction here, right? People are not going to want to click on an ad, watch a 20-minute video, answer 10 questions, and then book a call. The odds of that happening and the amount of people coming through compared to them clicking on an ad and instantly filling out the form and booking a call, and then after watching the VSL, is going to be much higher. You're going to have a much higher lead flow. You're going to lose a lot less people. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to remove that VSL and opt-in, and you're going to put it at the end. You're going to put it after they've booked the call. That's where most people get it wrong and why they say, oh, ads didn't work for me, because they have too much friction on their ad. So straight qualifying form, they book the calendar slot, confirmation email, SMS with the VSL in it. Triage caller tells them, hey, check your email and SMS. Make sure that you're filling or watching that video. It's like 10, 15 minutes. and then they're confirming the info and the qualities, qualifies, and then the triager, what they're going to do is going to submit a pre-call info form. So our triage is literally going to give them a rating based on how qualified they are. The goal for this call is to gather as much information to prepare for the close. Also to introduce ourselves, speak to them, whatever. If we can get them on the phone before the call and turn that into a first call, they're much more likely to close on the second one because they've already spoken to us. They gain our trust. It's a lot more likely that a prospect is going to close, and you need a lot more different touch points. The more touch points that you can have, the more likely they're going to close. So yeah. Then they'll give us a rating, 1 to 4 for the closer, and then have a little bit of a background on the prospect. So 4 to 4 is literally like they want to pay, they don't even care what you say on the call. 3 out of 4 is like they're ready to go, they just have some questions. 2 out of 4 is like they have the money, they're qualified, but they're very skeptical and might not close. And then a 1 out of 4 is usually we just cancel them off the calendar. They're just disqualified. Usually that means they lied about their qualifying form, and then they didn't make it to they made it past the disqualified page. So if they're rated 1 out of 4, we'll usually cancel them. And then inbound and outbound stacking. So basically having both inbound and outbound going at the same time, where inbound is the paid ads and the organic content that's building on the personal brand, the proof and testimonials, and the value content. And then the outbound is the manual SMS that's going out, the direct message that's going out, the cold emails, and the ad calls. Okay, so having multiple sequences of inbound and outbound stacking coming through. And then nurturing and retargeting. So email SMS sequences, retargeting ads, AI calls, daily trigger follow-up. So this is making sure every lead that is coming through that isn't booking right away is getting nurtured in here, right? Whether it's the personal brand and organic content and the proof and testimonials and the value content, or just the manual SMS and DMs and the cold emails and the AI calls that we're sending out to get them booked in. As well as these, right? We can nurture them long term with just email SMS sequences. Like literally we nurture our leads for 200 days. So, and then retarget them with ads, get the AI to call, whatever. Okay. So that is the entire sequence for the phase 3 lead generation machine. Now, phase 4 for closing and fulfillment. Okay. So this is a very important, this is a crucial, and this is where most people fail. Especially if you're starting your very first business, closing and gaining the confidence to close on an offer that, number one, you've never fulfilled for, and number two, you don't fully understand. It's going to be very difficult. The first close is always the hardest. Once you close the first deal, it's smooth sailing from there. I mean, obviously there's lots of problems in business, but this is a very major issue that a lot of people have. Now, what we're going to do is structuring it down. So we have the sales process, so 1 call close, the fulfillment options, and then the delivery and client success. They all tie into each other. Sales process, 1 call close. So show up with a full triage report. Remember when we go back to here, you have the triager who's submitting and giving the qualification rating of 1 to 4 for the prospect. You have all the background information, so you are prepared on the call. You know, hey, this guy seems a little bit more cocky. This guy seems a little bit more timid. You might ask more questions. This guy's ready to go. Depending on how the prospect acts and how they've been rated can change the differentiation of the call and how you should prepare for the call by 1,000 times. It's completely different if you're hopping on with a cocky prospect who's skeptical versus a happy, warm prospect who is ready to go. So that is very important because right off the bat, you need to make sure you're putting yourself in a position of authority. If you are letting the customer take control of the call and the client immediately say, hey, what's your price? Right? I don't want to ask you. Stop asking more questions. You need to make sure that you take position and authority of the call right off the bat, saying, hey, sir, I'm not sure yet. I don't know what the pricing is. I don't know anything about your business yet. I don't know what you need. I don't know if we can help you at all. You need to make sure to take position, and you need to put yourself in a position of authority if it's a tough customer, or be more friendly, be more kind of natural with it if the prospect's already comfortable and they're ready to go. Right? You don't have to put yourself in a position of authority. Always be at the top, always be in control of the call. Don't get me wrong, but not have to kind of let them know like, hey, like, this is my call, not yours. You put the call asking for help from me, not the other way around. Right? So most important thing, rapport. Okay, act like they're a human. Don't act like you're a sales guy and they're the person you're pitching. Act like they're a human. Make jokes, talk, laugh, make them smile. If you can do that, right, you're gonna close. People will only buy from people they like. If they don't like you, they're not gonna give you money, I promise. Okay. And then discovery. Discovery is one of the most important. You're gonna get information on the from the triager. The discovery literally needs to be majority of the call because the more information you have on them, the more you can use against them, and the more that you can show and structure the value. If you know more about them, you can say, at the end of the call, and they give you their objections, and they say, hey, I need to think about it. You can say, hey, man, well, earlier you told me that you're not sure if this is really gonna work. So do you really need to think about it, or do you just have doubts that it's not gonna work for you? You're like, oh, you're right. I do only have doubts that it's not gonna work for me. Well, I know you have doubts, but here, let me show you 10 testimonials of ours, or here, let me show you what the process is going to look like and everything that, from start to finish, what's going to look like. So they're having some sort of a pushback and they're scared of what, they're unaware, they're confused of what's going to happen next. The more information you have collected from the discovery, the more that you can use against them. Okay. And of course comes to the pitch. Pitch should be very quick. Okay. Pitch should be very quick. Should be very simple. You don't want to confuse them with 2,000 and 5% and 300 a month for this package, but we have 10 others. Like you don't want to confuse your prospect. Make it easy. Make it a streamlined decision where upfront or retainer or whatever you want them to go for, make it seem 10 times more valuable than everything else. Okay. And then obviously you're going to have your objection handling, closing the deal, collecting the payment, submitting the sales report form, and then hand over to CSM for onboarding. Right. So I'm going to be breaking down that process down here, but we use Zapier for all of those automations, and yeah, let's walk through that after. Now the fulfillment options. You have 3 options here. Okay. You either have it do it yourself, you have outsourcing, or you have a specialized fulfillment partner. So first option is do yourself. You can do it in the beginning. It's not scalable. Won't be able to do complex builds. Option 2 is outsourcing through Fiverr, Upwork, fairly cheap and risky. And option 3 is a specialized partner. So for example, what we do is, we would be considered a specialized partner. We literally just do the entire process for you. We have a guy who understands and how to do it. Obviously, depending on whatever your offer is and the setup and everything, it is complex, but we literally make the process so efficient because we've done this 100 times and we know exactly what needs to happen. So the best thing that you want to look for is a mix of both. You want to do something where you're starting off doing it yourself. Then once you understand how to do it yourself, you outsource it to somebody else using a seamless process and fulfillment system. If you hadn't learned it yourself, you use a specialized fulfillment partner and then combine it by outsourcing and hiring your own employees. That's typically what I like to say. So I wouldn't say rely on just one of these. Figure it out yourself. If you can't figure it out yourself, use a specialized fulfillment partner, and then eventually delegate and outsource to an employee. You don't even need to start with an employee. You can start with a contractor off Upwork. Okay. Typically, that's what I would recommend for the fulfillment system. And then for the third, delivery and client success. So once the payment comes through, they get a welcome email, they get an onboarding form asking for all the info. We want to make sure that the process is seamless and that we're collecting everything up front. We don't want to make it a back and forth process for 10 years asking them a million questions. Extensive questions for the AI build, submit a form and book onboarding call with the solutions engineer. Solutions engineer reviews the onboarding form, onboarding call. There's the build and the integration process, extreme testing. There's a launch call with client, and then there's the client training and launching the AI build finally, okay? As well as the ads manager and the sequences and all of that. Now, phase 4. So closing and fulfillment obviously is a little bit more generalized because there's so much different type of fulfillment and all of that stuff. So bear with me. But now there's phase 5, okay? So this is like you're at 50K a month, 100K a month, okay? And you're pushing now to build in order to get to 150K, 250K a month. Building the team. So you're going to have all of these in place. Now, this is honestly like all you need to scale to 250K a month. You have a triager, which should be your first hire, low cost, critical for high volume. You have a setter, closer, software engineer, which would include media buying, and then client success manager. This will delegate 100% of your business. You literally won't have to do anything except for oversee, manage. That's it. So once you have these hires, total, you shouldn't be paying over 20K a month in costs for these hires. Client success manager and software engineer being the top, and then these guys are just commission based. You shouldn't be paying more than 20K a month. Once you're doing 100K a month, 80% profits without payroll, whatever your cost per ads is, right? Once you have this, you don't need to hire anymore. So once you're at 200K a month, your costs stay the same, right? Unless volume increases and you need to hire, for example, more client success managers or more software engineers. But this is enough where like you don't need to hire anybody else in your company. And then automating operations. So automate the onboarding processes, pre-build SOPs and trainings. So every single time that you fulfill for a client and you understand, okay, hey, this will save us 30 minutes of time. You write that down, you put a document, you make a document, and you have a loom going through it. So Joe, I'll just give you an example. This right here is one of our onboarding SOPs. And this is just the internal, like this is just the very basics of the onboarding. There's a much more in-depth SOPs. And it just looks like this, where you literally have a table of contents, everything on the side here. And then you have each one, and you can literally click on every single one. And then each one has an explanation, okay? What service are we advertising for? And then you have a video attached to each one walking through exactly how to do it. Literally just a loom walking through, just how I'm walking through right now. And that's how you set up the SOPs. Setting up internal pipelines. So having internal pipelines where the lead, triage, and close are being managed. And then obviously the onboarding, fulfillment, and success. Keeping everything tracked. Trust me, at 200K a month, you need to be tracking everything. You need to know exactly where a lead is being lost in the process. You need to know everything. Everything needs to be tracked. And then scaling paid traffic. So spending more on winning ads, split testing funnels, adding YouTube video ads, Google ads, TikTok meta ads, even LinkedIn ads, just scaling traffic or just spending more on Facebook. And then to increase MRR and LTV, having upsells, cross-sells, selling more agents, automations, increased in marketing integrations, maintenance packages, monthly retainers, referral programs, where if you do well, they get $1,000 off on their next on their next payment if they refer a client. Cross-sells, right? Anything like that. Give them a price for you to do it. You could do anything, figure anything out right now with AI and technology. So yeah, that is a lot of info. I know my voice is getting tired from how much we talked, but literally you know everything. You have phase 1, laying the foundation. Phase 2, crafting the offer and assets. Phase 3, lead generation machine. Phase 4, closing and fulfillment. Phase 5, scale and building the machine. Now, what does our onboarding process look like? Okay, so payment agreement is signed. We always send a contract. If you don't have a contract, I will put a link in the description below. Lawyer, templated, vetted contract. Payment comes through. Sales report form is submitted by the closer. So Jax, date, test, 3 agents signed, 4,000 plus 500 a month, cash collected up front, PIF, retainer. So just all the info about the client. They'll get a welcome onboarding Zap. So we use Zapier for all of our automations. They get an onboarding email that looks like this. Welcome to Insight AI. This is designed to get you started as quickly as possible. Please take the immediate steps below. Fill out your onboarding form. Check your inbox for access to our Discord channel and blah, 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 blah. Now that's Slack. We actually use Slack now. Then we have a welcome call script. So we literally have somebody from our company who is calling in and welcoming them for coming in. Now this is going to break the buyer's remorse. So immediately right off the bat, we're welcoming them, making them comfortable. We want to make sure they have no remorse going into this, especially after they paid. Just because a client comes through doesn't mean anything. Like, for example, you could sign a client, they could say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, give me a refund. You want to avoid that. So make sure that you're removing any remorse from them and welcoming them with a call. or it could be an email, whatever. And this is the onboarding form. So literally name, email, phone number, login info, number of agents, ad campaign setup. Like that's literally 1/10 of our onboarding form, just so you know. So we tell them like, hey, sit down, give it 2 hours. This is going to take 2 hours to complete. We literally have everything that we need to know. We never have to bug the client ever again for pretty much anything. And then once they fill all that out, they book the onboarding form. Onboarding form is sent to our solutions engineer or whoever's onboarding them. Could even be media buyer. All the info is in Discord or now Slack. Then they have the onboarding initiation call, just walking through, making sure that everything is good to go. And that's it. We stop right there. We used to do what's called a launch call, but now we just launch off the call for our client, depending on what is done. Like if it's done with you, with your client, you might need a second call just to show them, hey, this is how you do it yourself, whatever. Building out the agents, building out the ad sequence, ad campaigns for them, all of the integrations and the follow-up sequences. And there you go. Smooth onboarding, happy client, and tons of referrals and endless money for you. So that's literally everything. I showed you everything that you need to know literally to start your business today. You could take this, apply this, go watch my other YouTube videos, some more in-depth information about each and every single thing and point that I talked about. But I do have an opportunity for those who are more serious and want to invest in themselves and want one-on-one help with me and my business partner, Jackson. So on top of working and selling AI to businesses, we actually help people scale their own. Now, this isn't just let the floodgates come through. It is a very few amount of people that we work with because it is time consuming. I'm literally becoming a business partner in your business, working with you one-on-one, helping you scale. And I don't want to waste my time with people who aren't committed in themselves. So there is a significant investment in this, or so some would say significant, depending on what your value of money is and how soon you want to succeed in business. But I guarantee that if you were to work with me, you will make a ton of money selling AI. It's in our contract if you were to work with me and essentially become on a business partner. But yeah, if that's something you're interested in, I will have a link in the description below where you can apply. So you're going to have a bunch of questions that you're going to need to ask, and then you're either going to have a call with me or my business partner, Jax. One-on-one call, we're literally just going to ask questions. We're going to see if you're a good fit. And if you are a good fit, we are literally going to help you scale and build a copy of our business and what's working and what I broke down in this video. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you apply in the first link in the description below. If not, no worries. Check out some of my other YouTube videos. And I hope you found some sort of value from this video. Take care, guys. Let me know what you want to see in the comments below for other video ideas. Take care. Bye-bye.